So is this the CCR project that will win them all, and everybody thinks that CCR projects that are all the same, right? Correct. So what if this one has the safest resale buyer pool, while the rest are actually quietly ignoring and trapping the owners? So today we are really going to dive into the Skye at Holland and to determine whether this CCR project will actually win and outbid the rest of the projects. Well, one of the key things that a lot of homeowners are always thinking, hey, CCR project, you know, is it good? Is it a safe bet? So the truth is, right, not all CCR projects can exit the same. All right, so this is something that you have to be very careful. So in this video, we're going to uncover Skye at Holland and whether Skye at Holland can quietly outwit all the other CCR projects like Rivergreen, you know, Upperhouse, or even in River Valley where Promenade Peak is. And the secret lies in the buyer's pool math, which we are going to come in later on to determine whether the lower entry quantum would it equals to a wider resale demand later on as well. So this is why you really must continue to watch on as and if this is the first time following us, we'll like you to actually submit your subscription right into the video so that you can like and subscribe to the video and this channel so that we can continue to work on our videos to actually improve and guide you through the entire market sentiment, where is the market heading to. So fill in your comments on what are the videos that you really like us to actually do more, whether it's a strategy, whether it's a pricing, or even comparison to pit each project against each other. So it will really help us a lot if you can just like and subscribe to this channel. So moving forward, let's say we look at to Skye at Holland, right? So there's this one first logic that we must really understand first of all, is that today in terms of location, it is also one of the key factor where you need to understand before you actually jump into it. So previously there's a lot of noises about CCR projects. We just go into the project. It has not been going too well. That's why I shouldn't be even considering CCR. So why am I doing this video is because this Skye at Holland is a unique proposition that I believe if previously you have missed some of the projects like even Rivergreen, and this could be something that you don't want to miss again because there's certain logic that stacks up. All right, so I just want to really cover where this location is first of all. So in terms of connectivity, I believe many of us, we already know where Holland Village is. But if let's say we look at the entire Holland Village site, right? And of course, Skye at Holland, which is just beside Holland Village, as well as One Holland Village residences, where the new setup is being done. And I believe that this is one of the key things because you are only about 300 meters to the MRT, that's one. And you're also right smack about 600 meters to Buona Vista MRT. So you're kind of smack right in the center where if you have been to Holland Village, like I have in the past in schools, right? It's really a very convenient area where a lot of vibrancy and lifestyle things are going to be there. But I'm not going to go too much into those because I believe if you have already know where Holland Village is, you should know where is it. But I just want to highlight a few things in case you are not familiar with Holland Village. Is the amenities nearby where the food and retail, we're talking about Holland Village itself, and also you're very close by to North Buona Vista where all the other amenities are at, right? So besides the Gilmore Food Center, the Holland Drive Market Food Center, you also have Empress Road Food Center, but of course that is already forward towards the Leiden Green area. But you're still within the driving distance or even taking a bus where the convenience is. I believe if let's say today you want to go into a CCR project, it's either you go into downtown, okay, or if you want more livelihood with neighborhoods and amenities that is easily accessible, then Holland area is one of the CCR area where a lot of homeowners, or should I say even upgraders or even families, they are looking to kind of house their entire family there to stay for long. Holland is sometimes money also cannot buy area. Okay, so besides the amenities, we can also see that for the area, there's this green railway corridor that has really been developed, and this one of course links all the way to One North Park Fusion area. And I think in recent months we are seeing a lot more movement also in the One North area, and periodically that area is very much commercial aspect, offices. So if today you are looking at part of the directions of where you want to go for, right, in terms of purchase, you also want to kind of be very careful about how you're going to sell your properties to next time. So no doubt One North is also emerging, and I believe there's a lot of upside. But the strategy for One North as well as Holland is totally different. And that's why when we are guiding our clients in our personal consults, we basically tailor-made our objective on how our property journey for the next couple of years is going to be. Then we will actually match the correct project to where you want to in terms of your objective. So if today you are kind of looking out for some of these developments and you're kind of unsure whether this fits into your own plan, then you can actually reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to actually guide you through. So coming back on this, there's also another aspect that you can see, because for Holland area is predominantly a lot of landed properties and we are all surrounded by GCBs. So this area, if you ask me, is the more atas area. And if today you are able to grab a piece of pie in this prime location, then even your address also very nice lah. So this is why I think for Skye Holland in terms of location, this is one of a very rare property in terms of size, in terms of location. And later on, I will also be covering in terms of pricing point. So you must stay all the way throughout the entire video, because I will not only cover the location, I will also cover the floor plans. Okay, why the floor plans actually work in this location and how you can benefit as a homeowner, whether you're buying for own stay or buying for investment. We're going to cover the entire 1 to 5 bedrooms, as well as the pricing comparable to the other new recent launches. Okay, how do Skye Holland actually match up against them? And you'll be in for a huge surprise in terms of the pricing later on. All right. So one of the key things that you must understand for this area, because a lot of the properties are low rise because they're all landed property GCBs, right? So there's always this important factor that you can enjoy if you are going into Holland area, which is if you're going for higher ground property units, then practically the view are very unblocked. So these are all the first view where you are able to facing the Holland rise GCBs, and this is the kind of view even if you go above 15th floor, even 20th floor. And on the other side is, of course, you're facing Holland Village, which is also low rise. And later on, I will give you specifically which floor level will actually cross the view. And this will also help you to make a decision. Do you want to pay a premium during the process, or will you want to keep it within your range of price point to enter? So this is a lot of consideration factors, not just about, oh, I got this X budget and I just want to purchase. Because sometimes for such a project where they also understand, developers also understand that there's a premium in terms of the view that I can get. And practically this area is almost 100% going to be unblocked. Why? Because they are all zoned as landed GCBs. There will not be any buildings in front of you, even if the land parcels is zoned for residential. So this is also important, unlike some of the developments where when you're purchasing an unblocked view, in front in the master plan actually shows that there's going to be another 30-story kind of building in front of you that is going to block your view in time to come. For this location, if you can see, generally we are all very well protected. So in that sense, also you have to be careful about how much the developers are going to load in for each floor. Because for projects like this where they can go high and they know that the premium is actually in the view, then you also need to prepare yourself. Are you overpaying for a certain floor level where it will be a little bit tougher for you to exit later on? Okay, so of course everybody like to buy high floor, but high floor also comes with a price. So Skye Holland, this is the kind of view that you're expecting. I think it's very rare to get a almost 100% forever kind of view, and this is the kind of view I always call $1 million. Maybe this can be considered even a $10 million view because it's totally unblocked, and you have the entire view at your doorstep. I think this is something very wow, and being in Holland, you want to have that kind of factor, right? So one of the key things that I sometimes I share with my clients is that even if you intend to pay a premium for a certain project, you must know where this premium lies into. Okay, what is the future buyers looking at for this premium that you're going to put it on them to sell? So for the view, you can see this is the CBD as well as the Botanical Garden view. And this is basically on the south side Okay, this is on the south side. And if you look at the other view, which is more towards to the north, this is the kind of unblocked area that you're going to get, and you can kind of see the Bukit Timah Nature Reserve. It's not too near lah, but at least it's something, right? Yeah, so these are some of the views that be prepared to pay a premium based on how you want to purchase. And I believe in this project, the lower floor units will be I will call it undesirable to some extent. Okay, not that it's nobody will buy. So those who lower floors unit will likely be purchased by those who really want to have a stake in Holland area. All right, so they will go for a lower because maybe from a price sensitive perspective. But if today you have the ability for Holland, I will believe it will be very similar to how Promenade Peak is, how Rivergreen is. You will get the higher floor units and they'll be snapped up during the first day very quickly, even in the priority. Because there's quite a lot of interest that we are seeing on the ground that they are favorable to pay extra premium. And when I talk about extra premium, means it's not your usual prices that they are looking for. Because ultimately for Skye Holland, this potentially is one of the last residential plot that you can find. Based on the study of the master plan, we don't really see there's any land available to build for any residential. So unless they clear away some of these GCBs lah, which is almost kind of impossible. But so that's why that's the reason why I'm saying that for Skye Holland, very chances are if let's say you are very price sensitive and you don't want to compete, then the lower floor ones are actually more ideal. And I'll share with you, it's not a bad thing after all in this location, because if you favor the location and the kind of having a stake in Holland area, then this would be something that you can consider, which I will guide you through later on. So if you look from the view perspective, from towards the north area, right, to Holland Road area, right, these are all the unblocked and you're kind of facing the Bukit Timah Reserve. There's one that I mentioned. And also the other side, you're facing towards the city. All right, so this is, I think, one of the predominantly area where you kind of have both sides. Very rare to have unblocked totally with really nothing in front of you. Even those that is facing the One Holland Village residences, right, you are not like fully in front of them. So if you look at the entire site plan, this is how they have built. So both blocks, right, are actually orientated about 46 degree, very specific to north-south direction. Okay, and this creates an equal distribution, okay, of the units across the entire development. So I believe that this is why the developer has kind of cleverly make sure that your premium of a project, the unit that you're purchasing, commands the premiumness and instead of too many disadvantages. All right, so one of the key things that you also want to understand why just now when I was sharing about the lower floor units are not so much of a difference or not so much of a concern even if you are price sensitive, because the landscaping deck is actually start on the third floor. Okay, and all the residential units actually starts from 20 meters above road level. So their unit don't start from ground floor, they all start from the fourth floor onwards and upwards. All right, so then this is also one of the key things, because a lot of developers, they also start to realize sometimes when they put a ground floor unit, the units may not be as attractive, or maybe if they realize that the lower floor units, maybe it eats into their margin or because they have to sell it kind of a little bit lower. So now they raise everything upwards, no complaint or from you and me, and we will have to pay more premium starting from that floor level onwards. Well, so but of course this also gives those who are more price sensitive or just looking at the numbers to enter at a lower price a disadvantage, or it really depends on how you see it. So this is how the block placement is for this. So I'll cover a little bit on the site plan wide, because based on Skye Holland location and the placement, I think it's important for us to also know that today if you are going for a certain facing, what kind of pricing are you going to go for and whether it makes sense for you to pay that kind of premium. So I want to focus a little bit on the site plan, and later on we'll dive into the layout to determine which layout actually makes more sense for you to purchase. Okay, right, so if you see the one of the key thing is about the different distance towards each blocks. So sometimes when we are looking at block to block distance, we are quite concerned. Oh, is it too near to us? But I believe what they have done very cleverly is they actually fit in inward facing. Okay, let's say we talk about inward facing. Okay, it's almost 30 meter. I think this is very, very generous. And even the outward facing one is almost 35 meters away. And this gives you to the road distance. And then, of course, you have your GCBs on the other end, right? So this actually helps you to visualize that today, even whether when you are getting a higher floor units, how the distance is going to be. It's not going to be like so cramped up. And I've seen some of them like as close as 12 meters. Okay, 15 meters. Okay, that's quite a little bit ridiculous. But people still purchase. Also, but if you have an option to get this kind of further distance away property, it's always a huge advantage. And not to say the other side where it's facing one Holland Village residences, you're almost 26 meters away. So I'm going to show you from a diagram perspective how it will look like from the distance. All right. So when we talk about end to ends, just always remember when you're looking out from your balcony space, it's not a one straight line. Okay, sometimes when I hear a lot of comments about how the views are going to be blocked and all, just sometimes you just always remember our view is always wider. All right, it's not just one straight line. So this is also the same that you need to be careful when you're talking about the facing of the sun or west sun, east sun. Because sometimes when we just draw one straight line, right? But the rays doesn't just straight line. It really covers quite a fair bit of area. So with this, you can see that those in block 6, right? The outward facing one, you are basically facing the 7-story multi-story car park. And so which means this also gives you a guideline that if let's say today you are able to cross over the 7th floor multi-story car park, you're kind of safe. Also, the lower floor below 6th floor may not be that ideal. But I always more kiasu if let's say the multi-story is 7-story, I always want to go for higher. Why? Because being a car park, they also need to build the floor to floor a little bit higher. So give ourselves a little bit buffer, not to so zun. So this is where you need to really kind of go into the Showflat to take a look. And so if you require certain help in terms of your tour, just reach out to us and we'll be able to guide you and let you see it clearly, which is the kind of floor level that you can kind of cross the number of multi-story car park to clear that view so that at least you have some unblocked view. Also for Skye Holland, one thing is that you, because the facilities are all on the 3rd floor, okay, the amenities and facilities are on the floor. So as long as you're higher, you can still get to see the enjoyment of the entire facilities deck. All right. So so for One Holland Village, they have 3 to 7th floor. So it really depends on for this kind of facing, how much is the pricing? Should I go for higher or should I go for lower floor? So at this moment, the price point has not been released, but we will later on use some of the benchmark prices to kind of estimate where would the Skye Holland be roughly launching against the current launches that we have seen so far, to use it as a benchmark. So for Stack 6, I believe if let's say you're clearing the 7th floor, you're kind of very safe. And if we are in the block 2 for this corner unit, even though it's almost 100 meters away, so it really depends on whether it's a big concern for you or not. In general, I would say that being blocked by a property in front of you in Singapore is kind of a given. Kind of a given. So the unique part about Skye Holland is you have a choice to choose those that totally unblocked. But of course, again, whether the premium is something that you can go for, there's another layer of consideration factors. So don't just go for the view. There's many other factors to consider. So of course, let me just give you some project information of this Skye Holland. All right, so this is of course in District 10. So there are basically 2 blocks of building, and this unit number of units is 666. Why the number? I also don't know. It's kind of unique. So this development has a 2-story basement car park. Okay, and of course it comes with the full facilities. And I'm going to cover a little bit on like where the facing is, especially for the facilities, because in such a premium location, right, I believe that the buyers or your future buyers will not only just look at the basic stuff. They really need to go into a little bit more on the quality based on how the development, the landscaping is going to be. So the kind of audience base is different. So I remember a couple of years ago when we were helping some of our clients to purchase some of the units over at Linden Green, right? It stands out a lot because of the large landscaping. So these are the things that people kind of explore when you're moving yourself into the CCR location. Also, the different consideration factors has to be fit in order for you to be able to sell in future. So this is something that you must take note of. Okay, so for just take note the number of units and the details. So I think one of the key thing, the advantage of this is that there's actually 666 residential car park lots, even though they are near the MRT. So this is, I think, a consolation for everybody that you don't need to fight for the car park. So about the unit mix, I think the unit mix is quite common, even for one Holland Village residences, right? They also place the numbers quite similar, but remember this is a 666 project. So the number of units definitely has to be more lah. And if you can see, they still have a very heavy area on the 1 and 2 bedrooms generally. But one thing that I realized when I was commenting, when I was calculating all the number of units, right, I realized that the 4 and 5 bedrooms is really very little in the entire zone, in the entire Holland area. And a lot of them are all the boutique kind of projects. So if you're talking about anything more than 300 units, there's very limited supply in that location, which means that if today you are somebody who favors large space, you want more amenities, more facilities, then Skye Holland is something that pops out right now. If not, you can always consider One Holland Village Residences as a resale. You see, because these are all bigger developments, they have proper facilities, unlike the normal ones which are more boutique in the entire Holland. So when I was looking at all the numbers, then it kind of struck me that today there are basically two groups of buyers in this Skye Holland. Okay, so it maybe depends on you, what kind of profile you are in. If let's say today you are somebody who is a young couple and you totally don't want to have kids, then you can actually go into Skye Holland to choose the 2-bedroom type of units, ideally. All right, why? Because the supply there is very limited. All right, to own one unit there is kind of very rare. Even for One Holland Village Residences, their rental is enormous. It's crazy. A lot of take-up rate. Yeah, so if let's say today you are somebody who's kind of like, okay, destined, right? I don't want to have kids kind of thing. And you should really just enjoy the lifestyle, you enjoy the convenience, the nearer to town kind of situation, then the 2 bedrooms bare minimum actually is more than enough for you. And right now, if you look at the number of 2 bedrooms, they have almost 290 units in total, almost 300 units, right? Then of course, another specific group, if you ask me, for Holland Village area, right, to really kind of position yourself in, is you are a family, but your kids are old enough. Okay, your kids are old enough. Why? Because if you're looking for schools in Holland Village or Skye Holland, right, ain't no school there. So you need to be very careful about where you are at which stage of your life. You don't want to make the mistake of going into a certain location already, and then you realize, wow, 3 years later, 4 years later, you need to get a school, then you start jumping. Of course, you can rent somewhere else, but there's a lot of movement. So take note of this, because for Skye Holland, there's no school, or should I say in Holland, whoever buys there, you're not looking really for the school. Because if you're looking for school, you will go for other places really. Henry Park, 1 km. Know which project is it? If you know which project is it, comment below. All right. Yeah, so the demographic is very different. And which means this also tells you that today, if you are the profile buying a 4-bedroom, okay, and because your kids are growing up, and they want the convenience of the location. That means they're in their teens, right? Not they don't need primary schools. Then this also potentially will be your future buyers at the same time. So that's why you need to also understand from your kind of profile, will you go for a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom type? All right, if let's say today you already have 2 or even 2 teenagers or even 3 teenagers, then if you ask me, the supply of the 4 and 5 bedrooms in the entire Holland area is very limited. It's super limited. So I will also believe that today, based on the recent launches, the bigger units will be very fast to take up. All right, and this Skye Holland will also be the same situation, because today a lot of us, we still enjoy the space. It's no longer about the price point. Of course, price point is still important, but it's just that if I have the ability, especially those who buy Holland, right, you should have your ability, right? You want to go for a bigger size. Okay, so bigger size also equates to a higher jump in terms of your margin later on. Okay, so if I show you the perspective of how the units are like, then you will know that the starting Skye Terrace are all on the 3rd floor. Okay, then they build their way up or from there. So the placement of the entire blocks for block 2, it ranges, if you can see all here, okay, all the different stacks, of course, different facing. So I'm going to share with you later on how the units, the facing, the blocks are going to be. So at least you have some ideas of how the placement are, as well as block 6. Okay, and block 6, of course, being a smaller stack. They have lesser units, but you can see they houses more of the bigger units also at the same time. So if you look at the entire Holland Village, so I superimposed the entire map, right? You can see how the structures of the views are, and I already covered the distance. So this is how you will see for block 6. All right, this is block 6, and then this is block 2. Okay, where the facing are. Okay, I'm talking about outwards facing. Or inwards facing, I think is quite normal for you to decide whether you want to go for a higher floor or lower floors. And the distance is also about close to, let me take a look, 26 meters, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. All right. So these are all the placement of you. When you're choosing your units, you need to be very well aware of. But of course, don't just take this as it is. I think it's always important to seek a second opinion when you're kind of looking, is this the only project that I'm going for? Based on my price point, based on my financials, before you decide to really put in your entry for the balloting, or not always understand what's your objective, where are you buying, why are you buying this property for, and how long are you intending to hold this property. So this very much affects your exit strategy in future. So if let's say we talk about the entire site plan, right, I think based on facilities, we are not far off. So more major of the facilities you already have. And if let's say we talk about the arrival site, right, I think this is a very nicely planned out arrival area. Okay, and based on the artist impression, I think it's very classy. The arrival plaza, you have it very premium. I think for Holland area, you want to come back to a more atas kind of feel, right? You don't want to be like just chuck chain kind of arrangement. So with the lobby done in this way, at least you know that when you are going back into a CCR project, you are not discounting yourself too much. And with the site plan, right, I want to focus kind of a little bit on this location, which is where the Skye, the clubhouse is, the central lawn is. Because if you look at the entire facing, right, that means whoever is facing here, you kind of course, you tilt somewhere, you can kind of see the clubhouse area a little bit. So this is also important, because what they have done here is they actually done the entire clubhouse into a very, and remember everything is on the 3rd floor, right? So it kind of gives you a better soothing kind of feel when you go back. And this clubhouse is on the 1st floor, all right? Like I say, the Skye Terrace is other things that they have on the pool deck, and they have other facilities there. So this one on the 1st floor, which means that across the entire site, you are able to actually enjoy, and it's just by the pool area. And not forgetting, they also have what? They also have the clubhouse, okay, the main function room. And this is classy, you know, for you to really house guests, and whenever you have any parties or activities, you are able to actually set this up. So this one, if you can look, is pointing outwards. Okay, so we kind of orientate you a little bit so you understand where it goes. So the kind of placement is a little bit like Rivergreen. Okay, if you can recall how Rivergreen layout is, all their facilities is all at the beginning part of the narrower kind of land space. So for Skye Holland, they also did almost the same thing. I think one of the primary reason is to ensure that your living compound between the blocks, the landscaping, the space is there. So you don't want to go into the CCR area and then you kind of see block to block also. So I think this is what the clever architects have done. And also you have the Skye Clubhouse. Okay, this is how the perspective is done and how it looks like. So then we go on to the other segment of the area, which is the jacuzzi, the spa pool, you know, and the lap pool and aqua pool. So these are all level up because these are all on the 3rd floor. So if you can see the perspective, all right, this is where the leisure pool is. So this is between the blocks, right? So you can see this is in between the 2 blocks, the distance. So you are not facing each other so near, but yet at the same time, you have enough space. So coming to this, if you, let's say you are also on the comfort of your leisure, going to this space of leisure pool, I think also quite nice. Or even their lap pool on the 3rd floor, you can see it's already raised up. Okay, it's already raised up in terms of their lap pool, so that you kind of get a little bit of the infinity style. And you have the residence lounge also on the 3rd story. So these are all, you can see the premiumness of how Skye Holland has put in quite a lot of effort in terms of going into the details. And again, I want to stress in CCR, this is extremely important in terms of the premiumness, and that's how people will be commanding the premium product with a premium price as well. So one of the key things that in this video that I'm not going to touch is how does Skye Holland hit against other projects in the CCR or even RCR in terms of pricing, in terms of layout. All right, so I'm not going to cover that too much in this, but what you want to do is you want to really just subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell, because in the next video, I will be pulling out some recent launches that has done very well. But based on the results, does it mean that they are really going to outperform for Skye Holland? All right, so this is very interesting video that most of the people don't do it. So I'm going to spend some time to really study this and produce it for you. So the only thing that you can help me to do is maybe just give me a like and subscribe to this channel so that you can stay tuned for the next video that I'm going to do. And I'm going to pit the other layouts in RCR and CCR against Skye Holland to see which one makes more sense. All right, so this is what we're going to do in the next video. So the next thing that I want to touch on is, of course, the layout. Okay, I believe Skye Holland being a harmonized project, the layout is also very important for us to consider. And this one being a 2-bedroom, this is of course the 2-bed and 1-bath. You can't question too much about this as an efficient Dumbbell layout. Of course, you have an open island approach. And I believe every homeowners have already started to accept that today, if you are able to get a 2-bed, at least minimum, with an open concept kitchen, you have to accept. But I think what they have done cleverly is that they have a space for your dining. So a lot of times, if you have seen other layouts where there are 2 bedroom, 1 bath, right? Their dining is kind of in between. Okay, they don't have enough space to place in the living hall or even in the kitchenette area. But this one, they have segregate and open proper area. I think this makes it more functional. And also the living hall area, you have a proper area for your sofa as well as a TV. So we have seen before a 2-bed 1-bath where either sides are not long enough. So you don't know where you're going to place your TV, you don't know where you're going to place your sofa. But this one definitely for a 2-seater, I think it's very comfortable. And again, I also want to stress one of the additional factors that Skye Holland potentially is winning over even some of the nearby projects because of the balcony space. All right, if you have compared some of the layouts for even One Holland Village residences, their balcony to me is giant, giant size. But for Skye Holland is workable. All right, if you want to move your dining there, you can also, but I would perhaps advise maybe just a two-seater couch or two-seater to enjoy the balcony space with your unblocked view, only if you go for the super high floor lah. So this is why the placement of layout and the usage of the space is extremely important. So even though it's a 581 square feet, this is harmonized. So it really kind of depends on how you want to go for this layout or not. So the second layout that you have is of the 678 square feet. Okay, 676. So this is a two-bed premium. So two-bed premium, we are also talking about a dumbbell configuration. And this dumbbell configuration, again, they also have a proper space for dining. I think this is mandatory already moving forward. So why are we going into layout so much? Because layout is what every homeowners look for in terms of livability. And when your property becomes a resale, you are no longer buying from plan. You need to ensure that the livability and the functionality of your unit makes a lot more sense, like how you're going to stay inside. So remember, just be very careful not to fall into the trap of just buying it and thinking that this one can accept. Or even when you go to the Showflat, you see everything so nice. That is how it is. We are a little bit more kiasi. Sometimes we will really compare and determine is this length comfortable enough when you're staying there for the next 5 or even 8 years down the road. Okay, at least bare minimum 4 years with the SSD. So a dumbbell configuration, using of space, although the lack of corridor kind of expand your entire space a little bit. But what is the disadvantage of a dumbbell here is that the kind of living area is always tighter. So if you have done comparison with a corridor 2-bedroom plus dumbbell layout, you will see dumbbell layout, although it gives you a little bit wider space, but the living hall area is always limited. Okay, and the corridor one, although you have a corridor space, the living hall usually is longer. So there's always a pros and cons. You have to compensate certain things. So never just narrow yourself to say that, oh, I only want to go for dumbbell because of space. All right, some layouts that we have seen recently, even the corridor units are actually very attractive, depending on how they have layout. All right, so that's why starting into layouts takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of time, because there's so many different projects, there's so many different layouts. How do you determine which layouts are more ideal for you when you want to sell? Very important. All right, so 2-bed, 2-bath, I think 6, 7, 8 square feet. Again, this is definitely going to be one of the very popular layout because of the enclosed kitchen as well. Okay, but also take note, all the 2 bedrooms in this development are tucked in the center of the 3 and the 4 bedrooms, so you will not get ventilation for your bathrooms as well as your kitchen, which is kind of normal, how everybody already accepted it. Okay, so of course, if let's say in the marketplace, you're still able to have that as a priority, that not say priority one of your main criteria that, hey, you really need to have windows in toilet, windows in kitchen, then your kind of selection is going to be very, very tight. Okay, so you may end up paying a little bit more because that's very rare nowadays. Okay, so you have the proper balcony as well. So I think from a layout perspective, everything works out well. And more importantly is the common bathroom. Okay, you have a dual access. Okay, so common for your guests to go into using the common toilet or even using the master is double up as a master room as well. All right, so I think this is very comfortable. And these are, just take note that this is also inward facing. So whether you're going for a high floor or low floor unit, I don't think it makes too much of a difference. So it really depends on your queue number. Yes, so 2-bed premium plus study, this is also inward facing. They have a little bit more units, 2 stacks. And the 2 study, you can see, is also a dumbbell. And when they configured a study, so this is a part where I find that it's a unique approach where they put the study at the balcony area. All right, if you can see, as well as the master. So are you supposed to corner this off so that the balcony can use the study area? I think this also gives you a little bit more creative ideas of how you can turn it into. All right, so the flexibility does help, okay? And whether you want to use the study for work and it goes towards the balcony area. So this is something that we seldom see. But let's say, if you ask me, they did not have this opening, then it will be very odd because only the master room can use the study area. And usually what will you do with that? Do you need a area in your master room extra walk-in wardrobe, perhaps? All right, so that's why when they open up the balcony towards the study room, hey, this actually opens up a little bit of flexibility for you to do something. Or yeah, so maybe y'all can share with me, like, if you have bought this property, what will you do with the study and the balcony like this? What are some of the ideas you may have? Maybe it can trigger me to have more creative ideas also at the same time. Now, the rest, I think, is quite standard, that you have an enclosed kitchen. Really depends on what kind of pricing the 2-bed premium plus study comes in. And because the facing is all in the inwards facing, so you also do not need to pay so much of premium for the view, except one unit, maybe you can still get some view or opposite. So let's look at the 3-bedroom, 915 square feet. I think size-wise, 915 is very comfortable. And this is the first kind of layout that is facing outwards. Okay, facing outwards. So for this 3-bedroom layout, it comes with an enclosed sliding door. Okay, a proper enclosed kitchen. So again, this is a compact 3, so don't expect that you're going to get a yard area or even a WC kind of configuration. I think with the size that is harmonized, you're able to get a proper enclosed kitchen. I think is already a bonus. Right? So today we need to kind of set certain expectation on how we see layouts versus those that is not harmonized, as well as the properties in the past as we are looking at resale. Okay, so the very longish layout, I think this is very typical. And one of the key thing that I like how they have done it is they kind of try to keep the corridor shorter. Okay, they kind of keep the corridor shorter, but they, of course, they compensate with what? With a longer master room corridor lah. I mean, there's only one way or another, right? It's either you have the corridor or you don't have the corridor. But this also gives it a little bit more privacy for the master room, that you don't just go in and then you immediately see the bed. So you have to go past the bathroom before you actually see the bed. So this is a very rare configuration that we have seen based on so many different layouts that we have compared before. And all the bedrooms are definitely, you're able to put in a queen bed minimum and the master room for a king bed. So looking at this configuration, I think there's nothing much that you need to hiam about. Oh, very livable. Yeah, the only thing is that so far I have not seen layouts where the bedroom 2 and 3 is a Jack and Jill to the toilet. Kind of. Yeah, maybe one day the developers will have creative ideas to actually do that. But that is on my wish list, I would say. All right, so 3-bedroom. And for 3-bedroom premium, so this is going to be the show unit in the Skye Holland when they are launching. Of course, they want to showcase the best with 1076 square feet. I think very sizable. I think this will be a very popular space. And I typically also love this layout and the small little touches that Skye Holland has provided. So when you come in, first of all, you're not having much research space. All right. The new thing that we are seeing is that they have this so-called a dry kitchen pantry. Okay. We do see this in some of the developments, like even Chuan Park. But this one, I believe, it also works the same approach where because of a 1076 square feet, sometimes you want to have a bigger kitchen, but because of space constraint, they kind of remove one part of it and put it as a dry kitchen. So the dry kitchen is where you are able to actually have a display shelf, the glass pull-out drawers. So, and we have a sinister stone worktop as well as modern cabinet styling. So all these things you have to see to believe. Okay, when the Showflat is on, you can reach out to us. We will arrange a tour together and let me further advise you on what are the situations that you have in your property, and we see how we can guide you from there. You see? Yeah, so this is where the key thing about having a dry kitchen as well as a wet kitchen, and this is the only configuration where you get the yard as well. Okay, the yard and the WC together. So this one typically is really for families that cooks a lot. So why the compact 3 bedrooms has been very widely popular is because a lot of the homeowners nowadays don't cook. They just order Grab, or they just do like cooking or heating up food. You know, that's about all. So typically for a 3 bedroom premium is really for families who really need to cook. So this is also the part where if let's say you need a proper kitchen to cook, then likelihood you have young children. But if you're young children, they need to go to school, then will they buy this kind of unit? Then they have no school. So food for thought. So these are some of the considerations. Sometimes we also think about whether, even though it is a popular choice in terms of space living, but the functionality of it, will it really fit your own objective? That's another thing that you need to consider. Not about just, oh, because it's a big unit, I just want to get it. All right, the rest of it, I think everything is very proper. They managed to even fit in a household shelter for storage, which is extremely important, definitely, for bigger families like with a 3 bedroom. So the next one that we want to see is that today, if you look at a 4 bedroom, and this comes with a private lift, 1238 square feet, and this is also facing outwards. Okay, facing outwards. I think typically for a 4 bedroom with a private lift, this is where the premiumness comes in to kind of segregate the 3 bedrooms as well as the 4 and the 5 bedrooms differences. And I believe that those who are going for this, they will definitely just go for the higher floors unit so that they can also enjoy the view and enjoy the premiumness of this. And what they have done here very carefully is that they basically put their entire wet kitchen on one corner of the entire space. Okay, so a lot of times is when you go into the room, when you go into the unit, the wet kitchen is there. All right, so because of the private lift concept, this becomes your main entrance. And this becomes a secondary entrance for your Grab food when you buy your grocery delivery, then you go in by the so-called the back door. And this is a proper wet kitchen with the yard area and WC. So likelihood you will house your helper here, okay, in the household shelter, which is, she will be the queen of the kitchen because the entire area is hers. She will take care of everything there. She'll have her own space. I think this is definitely also benefiting for the helper to really take care of the house. Also, by you having a private lift, this is where your guests and everybody will just come in into the entire unit. And all the rooms are also tucked in one corner. So you can't run away from the long corridor here. And every unit will have their own space for that extent. So the only thing that you have to take note is for this 4 bedroom, 3 rooms are actually sharing one toilet. Okay, that's why you have to take care. Of course, you can still use the WC at the end if you want to. Again, I shared in my previous videos about my concern usually for 3 bedroom versus one toilet. Alright, so this is something different. If not, you can go for a 4-bed premium with private lift. Wow, so this one being a bigger size of 1464. This concept is very similar. You come in with a backyard as well as a private lift. Alright, and this time around you have a landscape layout. So I always enjoy, if you followed my video before, I always enjoy last time with a 3 bedroom you get a landscape layout. And then now only 4 bedrooms or even 5 bedrooms, then you can get a landscape layout. But it's a give and take. Alright, you need to see where your requirements, your criteria are, because with a landscape layout, yes, you get a proper view. You also have a giant balcony to live with. Alright, so it really depends on how creative you are to use the balcony space. Like for example, the place that I'm staying right now, I also have a big balcony space, right? But we actually able to make use of it. That is almost part of like a living hall that you can on it. So landscape layout is always one key choice for me personally. I don't know what about you. Whether do you find that a big balcony space is a waste of area, livable area at the same time. Alright, so but from a Holland Village perspective, if you see that you're going to face the GCB, if you're going to get high floor wouldn't you want to open up your window to that magnificent view unblocked? So okay lah, to accept the big balcony. Okay, in that sense. So this one, you have your private lift, everything comes in properly. So again, this one, the advantage is you get a junior master. So a junior master will have their own toilet as well as a master. So you do not need to fight because 1 and 2 will go to one toilet. So from a typical 4-bedroom premium, I think this is very well thought out in terms of space, in terms of usability and functionality. And ideally, if you ask me, if your kids are in your teenagers age, right, then they will want to have their own space as well and not to fight against each other. So this is something that I believe it will work out very well depending on your family nucleus. But if you are somebody who's really like kind of have 3 kids and they are still schooling or they are going to school soon, you really need to take note of what I shared about, that the moving of into this area, and then you need to start deciding where to house them for schools or stay within 1 km to the school. This is going to be a huge factor that you need to look into. All right. And what about 5-bedroom premium? So 5-bedroom premium, this is also a very important number. First of all, the supply is always very little. All right, there's not a lot of supply. And within the entire 6-meter frontage, right? So this is the 6-meter frontage. Same thing, your balcony will also be 6 meter wide. So you need to really think note of that. So 5 bedrooms, I think for a very mature family, this is luxury. Okay, luxury. Why? Because based on even the kitchen side, you have a island kind of pantry area. And this is one of the better view outwards to the GCP. So I will definitely find that the 5 bedrooms and the 4 bedrooms will be very high take-up rates in this location, and the high floor units as well. So that is how I will see. And the rest of it is very similar. It's just an additional area, an additional room. And this is the part where the bedroom 3, bedroom 1 and bedroom 2, right? They are basically a Jack and Jill. So I think this is cleverly done. They make sure that the bathrooms are being shared properly, because for a household of, for a 5-bedroom, you can easily house 6 or even 7 people, right? You want to make sure that the toilet is never an issue. Okay, so I think this is cleverly done, where they have more than enough space. Like you can see, the junior master will have their own toilet. Master room, not only just their own master, they also have their own walk-in wardrobe space. And you have 2 rooms sharing 1 toilet, which means that the additional unit, the 3rd bedroom, will have their own space, because have their own toilet, because they technically will be sharing with the junior master. So this is, I think, a very proper usage of space where they take into consideration factors, not just the living area, but also how they function in the family. So I think this is very well thought out for 5 bedrooms configuration. Right. So of course, one of the key things that you also must understand is today we are only just talking about layouts that fits into the audience out there. But for your own situation, maybe your objective is very different. How do you usually live your life in a property is very different. So that's why we always want to do comparison to help you to select. Do you really want to go for a 3-bedroom or even a 4 or even 5-bedroom? Which one makes more sense in the short term or even long term down the road? And if today you find that what we have shared with you makes a little bit sense on how you want to do it, I want you all to continue to kind of follow us through, because in the next video, I'm going to pit the layouts against other projects that is in RCR or even CCR, and they are all the recent launches that some of them have done extremely well, some of them have not. And where does Skye at Holland face when you're matching up to them? And does it make sense for us to look into Skye Holland just because this is the latest new launch that's coming in and we should be going for it? So that's the first thing that I'll be sharing in the video. The second thing I'll be sharing in the video, the next video, is that I'm going to share with you the prices as well. Which projects, prices, does it make sense that, hey, today they are already sold at this X price? For Skye Holland, what is the benchmark prices that we should be going for and that you need to be taken note of at the same time? All right, so this is something that you need to be aware of. So just to give you some runway of where the rough estimate of Skye at Holland is going to be. So at this current moment, we are already meeting up a lot of families and clients to kind of position their objective well. So this is where we will firm up your financials, your objective and your criteria, so that we can see, besides the new projects, which is Skye at Holland, are there any other projects that could be comparable that we can also introduce you and share with you why they may make sense as well? All right. So if let's say you are really a number one lover of Holland Village, you only really want to buy Skye at Holland, then the Showflat preview will likely be 26 to 7 October. This is to be confirmed. So once you're on our list, we will update you when we are able to visit the Showflat, and we will give you a proper tour to run through how the entire project is going to help you. Then the registration of interest should be around October period, then the e-balloting and the physical booking moving on. So we will be following you through the entire steps, because our role here is not only just follow your price point and we just buy the property. Okay, we actually cover quite a fair bit in terms of the pre-preparation, which is something I always share, that today you must ensure that you go and do it. So while the 5 things that we usually cover in our pre-selection, be it whether it's a current launch or even for future launches, is we will bring you through these 5 steps. The first thing is definitely the affordability limit stuff, where our benchmark is, what is the range that we should be looking out for, so that on the day itself, we do not overcommit in terms of the pricing. Then we will also help you with the unit selection and versus your affordability. Should we go for a higher floor unit versus a lower floor unit? So we have actually done in terms of into a matrix based on price point. If let's say this unit jump 20,000 to the next floor, does it still make sense for us to go for the higher floor or the lower floor? So this requires a lot of benchmarking of prices, and because right now Skye at Holland indicative prices is not out yet, so this will definitely be done later on with our one-on-one consults with our clients who reach out to us privately. So that's why we're able to kind of guide you through very specifically, like this facing versus this floor unit or this size unit, which one makes more sense for us to put our money in. Okay, very important. So we'll also be sharing with you what is the best case alternatives. If let's say you missed out a lower floor 2-bedroom, maybe a 3-bedroom higher floor may make a lot more sense, and that's where we will do more comparison in terms of your assessment in the project units when we are going to purchase. Whether it's before balloting, we usually do a lot of this pre-preparation work, and more importantly, your walk-away price. Okay, a lot of people when they go into new launches, balloting, they've been sucked into it, and many of them came out, realized that they may have overpaid, or they did not know why did they buy that property in the first place. Okay, so you may be saying that, Coach Edmund, is it really that possible? It is, all right, because we have been getting a lot of inquiries ever since the last launch, okay, on their decision. Have they actually made it correct or not? And that's where today my role is really, if you are able to position yourself differently in the marketplace, you have done a lot more homework before you even commit yourself. Wouldn't that save you time, save you the hassle, and more importantly, you do not need to give up your unit if it's really not that ideal. Okay, so that's something that we don't want you all to go through. And for our clients who are going through this balloting process with us, we actually do quite a fair bit, not just about how much your budget is. So these are the few things that we cover through the entire process until your booking day, right? So it's not just about, oh, Ivan, I want to buy this unit, I want to choose this facing, wait for the pricing, and then you go and buy whether your ballot number hits it or not. I think there's a small in-depth strategy that we share with our private clients so that they are able to go in the purchase with confidence, and most importantly, they know how they are going to exit. All right, so today, if let's say you are already kind of exploring some of all these projects, upcoming one, post one, resale, or even current launches, and you haven't had anyone to really guide you through the process, to share with you what are the common mistakes other people have made, what are the traps that usually you fall into during balloting, then perhaps you want to scan the QR code and reach out to us so that we can give you a better overview of how a property selection should be done. Okay, my role is not to tell you what to do. My role is really to provide you enough access, enough understanding about the market, the project that you're going for, your own clarity of your own plans to make an informed decision before you move forward. All right. So if you find that this is something that you really need help in, and you kind of like doing it on your own and you're kind of lost, very confusing because everybody say every project is good, and you really want a transparent, direct, no fluff answer to your plans, about your plans, not my plans. All right, and you are seeking a different perspective of how we are seeing the market, then perhaps you can scan the QR code and we'll be more than glad to guide you through this process. All right, so with that, this ends my Skye Holland video. And remember to continue to like and subscribe to this channel, because in the next video, I will go even more in depth in terms of the prices and how it actually outweighs each other, and which project will be the ultimate choice in today's marketplace, not only just in CCR, but also in RCR at the same time. All right, so with that, I see you guys in the next video. Just